The monk of the three paths. At the highest peak of Mount Washan, where clouds intertwined with rocky peaks and the wind whispered ancestral secrets, stood the monastery of the Eternal Lotus. Within its ancient stone walls lived the monk Tao Lin, a man whose existence defied the natural laws of the known world. After 70 years of uninterrupted meditation, prolonged fasting, and esoteric rituals, Tao Lin had achieved what no other human being had, the triple manifestation of his existence. The legend of the monk with three bodies had spread like morning mist through the surrounding valleys. Villagers whispered about that old man who could be in three places at once, who possessed three independent souls and three minds that operated on different planes of reality. Some considered him a blessing from the gods, others an aberration that defied the natural order. In the earthly realm, Tao Lin's first body was that of an elderly man with weathered skin and calloused hands, with a long white beard that reached down to his waist. This body was dedicated to healing, traveling the mountain paths to attend to the sick and dying. His eyes, a deep brown, reflected the infinite compassion he had cultivated during decades of service. Simultaneously, in the spiritual realm that existed between the invisible folds of reality, Tao Lin's second body took the form of a middle-aged warrior, with defined muscles and impeccable posture. This body, visible only to those with spiritual sensitivity, tirelessly fought against dark entities that threatened to infiltrate the world of the living. His eyes, an electric blue, constantly scanned the boundaries between dimensions. And in the third realm, that of eternal dreams, dwelled Tao Lin's third body, a child of barely 10 years, with an innocent smile and penetrating gaze. This body navigated through humanity's collective dreams, sowing seeds of wisdom and gathering prophecies that it later transmitted to its other manifestations. His eyes, a brilliant jade green, contained the accumulated wisdom of countless lives. Each body possessed its own soul, fragments of a primordial essence that had voluntarily divided during the great ritual of conscious separation. The soul of the elderly healer was serene like a calm lake, patient and compassionate. The soul of the spiritual warrior burned like an inextinguishable flame, fierce and protective. And the soul of the dreaming child flowed like crystalline water, adaptable and deeply intuitive. The three minds, though connected by invisible threads of shared consciousness, functioned autonomously. The elder's mind processed knowledge accumulated over centuries, methodically applying it to each situation. The warrior's mind operated with strategic swiftness, anticipating movements and calculating responses. The child's mind perceived hidden patterns, invisible connections between seemingly unrelated events, and possibilities that escaped conventional logic. For centuries, Tao Lin had maintained a perfect balance between his three existences. Each night, during the wolf hour, his three bodies met in a secret cave within the monastery, where they shared experiences and aligned purposes. This ritual of temporary reunification was essential to maintain the coherence of his fragmented being. However, the balance began to falter when an ancient prophecy began to manifest. The three realms that Tao Lin inhabited started to dangerously approach each other, threatening to collide and destroy one another. The symptoms were subtle at first, objects from the physical world momentarily appearing in the spiritual realm, dream creatures fleetingly manifesting before the eyes of terrified villagers, spiritual warriors casting shadows in the material world. The Council of Elders of the monastery summoned Tao Lin, in his form as the elderly healer, to discuss the growing crisis. The veils between worlds are thinning, venerable Tao Lin, explained Master Wei, the oldest of the council. The stars have aligned according to the prophecy of the triple veil. The three realms should never have come so close. Tao Lin nodded gravely. I have perceived it. My warrior has had to repel entities that had never before managed to get so close to our plane. My child has seen dreams that partially materialize. According to the ancient texts, continued another elder, unfolding a yellowed scroll, when the three realms come too close, only a being that exists simultaneously in all three can restore the balance. But the price, his voice faded, unable to continue. The price is permanent reunification, completed Tao Lin with a serene voice. My 3 bodies, 3 souls, and 3 minds must merge again into a single entity. A heavy silence fell over the room. Everyone understood what that meant. Tao Lin would lose the unique capabilities that his triple existence granted him. He would no longer be able to heal in one realm while fighting in another and exploring dreams in a third. His effectiveness as a protector and healer would be drastically reduced. There must be another solution, protested Master Wei. Perhaps in the forbidden texts of the Celestial Library. Tao Lin raised a hand, respectfully silencing the old woman. Time is running short. I must consult with my other manifestations. That night, in the reunification cave, Tao Lin's 3 bodies met in an atmosphere charged with tension. The warrior was the first to speak, his voice resonating with determination. The dark entities are taking advantage of the proximity of the realms to infiltrate. Each day it becomes more difficult to contain them. The child nodded, his jade eyes shining with concern. Dreams are becoming reality, and not all are benign. I have seen nightmares materializing in all 3 planes. The solution seems clear, said the elder, but before making such a transcendental decision, we must explore all alternatives. For 7 days and 7 nights, Tao Lin's 3 bodies tirelessly investigated. The elder consulted the oldest texts of the monastery. The warrior traveled to the confines of the spiritual realm, consulting primordial entities. The child navigated through the dreams of the greatest sages that had ever existed, seeking answers in their subconscious wisdom. On the 8th day, they met again. Their faces reflected the same conclusion. There was no alternative. Reunification was the only way. But there is something we must consider, said the child, his childish voice contrasting with the depth of his words. The prophecy speaks of reunification, but it does not specify how it must occur. The warrior narrowed his eyes. What do you suggest? Instead of merging into a single entity, we could create something new. A 4th existence that contains the essence of the 3, but that is more than the sum of its parts. The elder meditated on this possibility. Risky, but feasible, it would require modifying the reunification ritual. Thus began the preparations for the modified ritual. For a complete lunar month, the 3 bodies worked in perfect harmony. The elder prepared potions and sacred ointments. The warrior forged protective amulets and traced containment circles. The child composed chants that would resonate simultaneously in the 3 realms. The night of the ritual arrived with an unprecedented storm. Lightning of impossible colors streaked across the sky, and the wind howled with voices that seemed to come from other worlds. In the center of the reunification cave, Tao Lin's 3 bodies formed a perfect triangle around a mirror of black water. We began as one, intoned the elder. We divided into 3, continued the warrior. And now we will transcend into something new, completed the child. The 3 began to chant in unison, in a language that predated humanity. Their bodies began to glow, the elder with a golden light, the warrior with a blue radiance, and the child with a green aura. The lights intensified until they became blinding, projecting toward the center of the triangle, where the black water mirror began to bubble and rise, forming a liquid column that spun faster and faster. At that critical moment, when the energies reached their peak, the unexpected occurred. A dimensional rift opened above them, and a dark entity, the same one the warrior had fought for centuries, rushed toward the center of the ritual. It's a trap, shouted the warrior, trying to break the formation to intercept the entity. No, warned the elder. If we break the ritual now, the 3 realms will collapse instantly. The child, with the clarity that characterized his mind, made an instant decision. Let's continue. Let's incorporate the darkness into the ritual. It was a wild suggestion, dangerous beyond imagination. But at that critical moment, the 3 understood it was the only option. They modified the chant on the fly. adapting it to include the dark entity in the transformation. The column of black water engulfed the entity, which shrieked with a voice that reverberated through the three realms. The golden, blue, and green lights intermingled with the darkness, creating a vortex of energy that pulsed like a cosmic heart. A burst of pure white light momentarily blinded all sentient beings in the three realms. When the light dissipated, where once stood Tao Lin's three bodies and the dark entity, now there was a single figure. It was not an elder, nor a warrior, nor a child. It was not human, nor spirit, nor dream. It was something completely new, a being of crystalline light that constantly changed form, momentarily reflecting aspects of its origins before transforming again. The new entity opened its eyes, which changed from brown to blue to green to black in a continuous cycle, and spoke with a voice that seemed to contain multiple overlapping tones. We are Tao Lin, and we are also what Tao Lin fought against. We are unity in diversity, the balance between light and darkness. With a fluid gesture, the entity extended its hands toward the three realms. The veils between dimensions began to repair, separating again until reaching the safe distance they had maintained for eons. The Council of Elders, who had observed the ritual from a prudent distance, approached cautiously. Master Wei was the first to speak. Tao Lin, is it you? The entity smiled, a gesture that simultaneously conveyed the serenity of the elder, the strength of the warrior, and the innocence of the child. I am what Tao Lin has evolved to be. The separation into three was necessary to understand the fragmented nature of existence. The reunification with my adversary was necessary to understand that there is no light without darkness, nor order without chaos. And the three realms? Asked another elder. They are safe for now. But this is not the first time the realms have dangerously approached, nor will it be the last. The cycle will continue, and when it happens again, another being will have to divide to understand, and then reunify to transcend. The entity looked directly at Master Wei, and that being will be you, in your next existence. Before anyone could respond, the entity began to fade, becoming increasingly translucent. My time in this form is limited. I must ascend to the plane where those who have completed the cycle dwell. From there, I will observe and guide. Will we see you again? Asked Master Wei, tears running down her wrinkled cheeks. The entity smiled one last time. You will see me in the reflection of water, in the light between the trees, in the dreams you cannot remember upon waking. And when your time comes to divide into three, I will be there to guide you. With these words, the entity dissolved completely, leaving behind a soft glow that illuminated the cave for 3 days and 3 nights. In the years that followed, the story of the monk with 3 bodies transformed into legend. Some said he had ascended to become a deity. Others claimed he still walked among the 3 realms, invisible but present. And a few, mainly those who had been present during the final ritual, kept the secret of the true nature of the eternal cycle. Master Wei, now the principal guardian of the monastery of the Eternal Lotus, often sat alone in front of a black water mirror, similar to the one used in the ritual. In her reflection, occasionally, she believed she saw 3 faces superimposed on her own: a wise elder, a determined warrior, and a curious child. And behind them, a shadow that no longer inspired fear, but understanding. Because now she understood the truth that Tao Lin had discovered, that existence is neither singular nor static, but multiple and fluid. That true wisdom does not consist of separating light from darkness, but in understanding that both are aspects of a deeper reality, and that sometimes, to save the worlds we love, we must be willing to transform into something we never imagined we could be. As she contemplated these truths, Master Wei began to notice small changes in herself. Sometimes, upon waking, she remembered having visited impossible places in her dreams. Occasionally, during meditation, she felt as if a part of her consciousness separated and observed the monastery from outside. And increasingly frequently, she surprised herself speaking with a wisdom that did not seem entirely her own. The cycle had begun anew. And somewhere, beyond the three realms, Tao Lin, or what Tao Lin had become, watched and smiled.